In this final episode of Management Voice, the audio edition, Issue 3, we look at 4 different shifts across education, agriculture, climate, and leadership. Each piece offers a lens on transformation, from how we teach business to how we protect our environment, to how we reimagine a humble crop, to who we empower at the decision-making table. The questions may be different, but the message is the same. Change begins not with scale, but with mindset. Let's begin. We often hear that management graduates must be industry ready. But what does that mean in the Indian context? In his article From Classrooms to Contexts, A.M. Jose challenges the structure of how we teach business in India today and invites us to shift our lens. Most business schools still lean heavily on Western case studies. Ford, Toyota, Amazon, with their large-scale operations, formal hierarchies, and abundant capital. But the Indian workplace looks different. It's driven by family-owned businesses, first-generation entrepreneurs, informal networks, and cultural nuance. And yet, our curriculum often overlooks that. It trains students to manage corporate complexity, but not grassroots ingenuity. Mr. Jose argues that this disconnect must change. We need to train for agility, not just administration. We need to help students navigate ambiguity, lead with empathy, and make decisions when data is incomplete and structures are fluid. This isn't a call to reject global frameworks. It's a call to balance them with lived realities, the rhythms of Indian business, the psychology of local markets, the speed of informal economies. He also emphasizes that faculty mindset must shift. Teachers must become co-learners, facilitators, experimenters, not just content experts. And finally, he reminds us, work itself is changing, from lifelong careers to project-based gigs, from static knowledge to lifelong learning. If management education wants to stay relevant, it must do more than update its syllabus. It must update its posture. Because in a world of shifting context, what we teach is important, but how we prepare students to think matters even more. For centuries, the coconut tree has been part of Kerala's cultural and economic fabric. It's in the name, Keralam, the land of coconuts. But as Mr. V.P. Nandakumar reminds us, the tree that once stood tall as a symbol of prosperity has faced years of neglect, inefficiency, and stagnation. Low productivity, fluctuating prices, and shrinking land holdings led many to write off the coconut economy as too traditional, too slow to modernize. But that's changing. Today, Kerala is in the midst of what Mr. Nandakumar calls a coconut renaissance, a shift from subsistence to strategy, from scattered growers to structured cooperatives, from commodity sale to value-added enterprise. At the heart of this revival is KeraFed, the Kerala State Coconut Development Federation. Through collective procurement, modernized processing units, and consistent branding, KeraFed has helped stabilize prices and bring dignity back to coconut farming. Beyond institutional reform, Mr. Nandakumar highlights a quiet revolution in mindset. Farmers are no longer just selling copra or oil. They're exploring virgin coconut oil, coconut sugar, fiber products, dehydrated snacks, cosmetics, all tapping into global demand for natural plant-based wellness. The shift isn't just in what's produced, but in how it's produced, with supply chain efficiency, technology adoption, and quality certifications driving a new phase of competitiveness. And it's not just for export. Within India too, coconut is being rebranded as a versatile, premium productem, backed by health-conscious consumers and a growing demand for ethical sourcing. Mr. Nandakumar believes that if this momentum holds, the coconut tree could do more than survive. It could lead Kerala's next wave of sustainable rural development. It's a rare story of revival, where tradition didn't need to be discarded. It just needed to be reorganized, revalued, and reimagined. And perhaps that's the real power of this renaissance. Not just economic gain, but restored confidence in a homegrown resource. There was a time when climate change was a line in the CSR report, a checkbox, a talking point, not anymore. As Veena Menon writes, the Indian business landscape is already feeling the heat, literally and economically. We've seen it in flooded factories, power outages from heat waves, crop failures disrupting agri-supply chains, and insurance claims rising faster than rainfall. Climate risk is now business risk, and the real question is, how prepared are we? She points out that while global frameworks like TCFD, the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, are gaining ground, India's regulatory and ecosystem is still catching up. Yes, there's growing awareness. Top companies are hiring ESG officers, publishing sustainability reports, and setting net zero targets. But for many, it's still more optics than action. What's needed, Veena argues, is a shift from compliance to capability. Boards must integrate climate strategy into business models, not bolt it on afterward. Supply chains must account for extreme weather. Investments must weigh environmental resilience. And disclosures must move from glossy to granular. Because climate risk is not theoretical anymore. It's market moving. It's investor sensitive. It's talent driven. Young professionals increasingly prefer employers who take climate seriously. And it's here. Veena's message is clear. Climate resilience isn't about saving the planet someday. It's about protecting your business today. In the final piece of this issue, Hema Haridas brings us a sharp, grounded reflection on women in leadership and why the conversation must move beyond celebration. Yes, representation is improving. We're seeing more women in boardrooms, on founding teams, and in executive roles. But as she points out, presence doesn't guarantee power. Barriers still persist, not just in policy, but in culture. From unspoken biases in hiring to assumptions about assertiveness. From unequal mentorship to the burden of balance, women leaders still navigate an environment that isn't always designed for them to thrive. What makes this article powerful is its tone, not defensive, not idealistic, but clear-eyed and hopeful. Hema draws on her own experience as an HR professional to offer practical insights, how leadership pipelines can be restructured, why inclusion must be intentional and not automatic, and how success isn't about fitting in, but shaping the space to allow for difference. The goal isn't just to increase the number of women at the top. It's to make sure they arrive there with voice, with vision, and without having to leave parts of themselves behind.